Hey everyone, I'm Danny and welcome to Muggle Magic. In this video, I'm going to be comparing the official wizard cards from Universal Studios with my interpretation of what they should have looked like. This is the DIY. I have a video up of this. I will put that in the description box below. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So first of all, I've already done a review on this deck when I first got it, and needless to say, I wasn't very happy with it, which is why I made these. So let's go over just a couple of the key things that I did not like about this deck. First of all, they are humongous. Look, this is a normal size deck of cards compared to these. It just doesn't make any sense why they're so big unless they're for like monster hands. And if you compare my deck to a pack of bicycle cards, the size is pretty much the same, pretty close to being the same. Some people did mention in my review of the wizard cards that maybe they're so large because they're supposed to be sort of like the size of tarot cards, because that's what witches and wizards would be familiar with. But I don't think that's the case. I do have two decks of tarot cards here, and we'll take a look at the size difference, and yeah, they're the right width, I suppose, but look how tall tarot card decks are. Tarot cards are always much taller than they are wide. That's basically one of their distinguishing features, is that they're tall, not just an enlarged deck of standard cards. They are much taller than they are wide. And if we take a look at a regular deck of cards, see, they're pretty much the same width there, but they're much taller. So I don't think that that's really what's going on here. Anyways, back to the comparison. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out. So back to the comparison. When we take a look at the box, and I'm going to bring out the Weasley Wizard Wheezes catalog so that we can see. Here's the logo for the Haunted deck, and then we have cards in the background here, and then there's also some cards right here. So I'm going to keep this kind of out so that I can reference it as we do this comparison. First of all, on the box, it says wizard cards, which I didn't like because why would they call them wizard cards when the deck is clearly called the Haunted deck? So when I designed my box, I made sure that I put the Haunted deck logo on there, also with Weasley and Weasley Present above, just to, you know, make it look like it's actually manufactured by Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. I also included the Muggle Magic little icon right here. And I kind of tried to stay with the whole scattered cards in the background when I designed this box. So you'll see that the cards are scattered in the background, and on the back you'll see they're scattered back here too. Now when you look at this box, it's just brown, and it has the symbols for the different suits inside there. That's pretty much it. It's got a picture of some cards on the back. I also have pictures of the cards on the back. Anyways, it has some copyright information down here, and on the bottom of my card box I have a reproduction by Muggle Magic and a link to my YouTube channel. You'd think that they would try and do something similar to what you see here rather than just slop this together. I feel like this was slopped together. I'm sorry, I'm just not happy with it. So the more I think about it, I don't like it. Especially after making this, there were so many things wrong here, and we'll get into that. Opening this deck of cards, there was no seal or anything. It just, you know, the flap opens and you get to your cards, which is fine, but that's not really how the standard deck of cards works. The standard deck of cards has a sticker which you need to break the seal to open. So I decided to create a Weasley Wizard Wheezes sticker to seal this deck of cards. Now you can easily open this. I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife real quick just to cut it open. And as you can see on the inside flaps here, I have added some magical symbols. If we look at this deck, however, there's nothing inside, which is fine. You wouldn't really expect it, but I think that adding that just adds a little more realistic detail to the box of cards. So now we'll go ahead and get these cards out of the box. And the first thing we see is the Haunted deck presented by Weasley and Weasley. Because all standard decks of cards come with like a little advertisement card in it first, and then you get into your cards. Now when we open up the official cards, we see just the cards in here. And it just has ace through king, in each different suit, which is, that's, you know, what a card deck would be. But one thing I didn't really notice when I did my review of these until afterwards is that this deck doesn't include any jokers, which is really weird. Every deck has like one or two jokers in it when you buy it. So of course I created jokers for my version of the Haunted deck because I wanted it to be realistic. And it wasn't really that hard to do. I basically just took the picture from the back of the deck and I made it into a joker. I mean, that didn't take much effort really, and they could have easily done that, however, they didn't. There's that, we have the two jokers, and now we get into the actual cards. And I wanted mine to look kind of old, so I put a texture on it to make them look kind of like older cards. Now, if we go back to the official deck, they all have borders around them, and I don't understand why. Because if we look at the cards actually in the catalog, they don't have a border. If anything, there shouldn't be any white around the border. The border should be the edge of the card, but that's not how they are here. We'll go ahead and take a look through again and flip them over, and this is what the backs of the cards look like. This is the official version, and we'll take a look at the catalog. You can see what the backs should look like and compare that to what they do look like here. There's a big difference. I wanted mine to be very accurate, so I made mine look pretty much exactly like they look here on the catalog. So here's what you get with the official version, and here's what you get with my version. Now we'll take a look at the aces. I kind of like decks of cards that have the big symbol of whatever suit that they are. So this was just kind of boring to me. So I designed my aces to have a big symbol, and it has like a background kind of like what's on the back of the card here. So here's a comparison between my ace of spades and the official ace of spades. You will notice that the spade looks completely different. That is because if we look at the catalog, the spades are in fact shaped like my spades and not like a regular spade. In fact, I found a picture of the actual cards in a book, and somebody had taken a picture of their book and uploaded this photo, and I could kind of see what these symbols should have actually looked like. In this deck, the official deck, the symbols are basically just your generic spade, diamonds, hearts. There's nothing really special about them. However, in the actual cards, they should be kind of different. So the spades look like this. Here's what the hearts look like in the official deck, but the symbol should actually look like this. The club, as you can see, looks just like a normal club. However, the club on the actual cards should look like this. And finally, we get to diamonds. And actually, they did make the diamonds look like they should. So the diamonds are okay. I don't know why they changed everything else and left the diamond as it was, but that's just what they decided to do. Now we'll be comparing all of the royal cards between this deck and my deck, and also comparing it to a regular deck of cards. So here are the jacks in the official wizard deck. And as you can see, they're exactly the same except for the suit. The pictures on the cards are no different. And if we compare these to a regular deck of cards, you'll see that the Jack of Spades and the Jack of Hearts, his head is turned so that you can only see one eye, and these are called the one-eyed jacks. So these don't matter as much. These one-eyed jacks were not included in the official deck. They just basically copied and pasted the same image and just put it on all the jacks. So if we look at my Jack of Hearts and Jack of Spades, I turned his head so that they are indeed one-eyed jacks. And you can see here's the normal jack with his head kind of facing more forward, and then here's the one-eyed jacks that I created with his head turned, only showing one eye. Now let's take a look at the queens. As you can see, all of the queens here, they just copied and pasted the same image and just changed the suit. If we look at a real deck of cards, if you look closely, each one of the queens is carrying a different flower. They're not the same flower, they're all different. So I was thinking, how can I translate this to my deck of cards? I decided to give them all a different wand. Let's get into the kings. Of course, this is the official deck, and you guessed it, they're all just the same picture, they just changed the suit. And if we look at a real deck of cards. The King of Diamonds is a one-eyed king, just like the one-eyed jacks. And then the King of Hearts is what's called a suicide king. You can see that he is putting his sword into his head. Also, the King of Diamonds is the only one holding an axe. Everyone else is holding a sword. So with my King of Hearts, I had him aiming his wand at his head and his eyes closed. So this is my suicide king. King of Spades is normal. And the King of Diamonds, again, I have made him a one-eyed king like he should be. And all the other kings are just holding a normal wand. So I had the King of Diamonds hold the Elder Wand. Since in a regular deck of cards, the King of Diamonds is the only one holding an axe. Okay, and then my deck also includes some more cards. Obviously, of course, there's the Haunted Deck advertisement card. But then I also included these cards in my deck. And what these are trick cards. So this one is an Ace of Hearts on one side and a Four of Spades on the other. And that's the same as these two. So you get 4 of these trick cards, and then this trick card has a blue back on one side and a red back on the other. It's what we call a double backer. I included these because it's called the Haunted Deck, and it is part of the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes Muggle Magic line of products. So of course, it should be a trick deck of some kind. There should be something about it that is Muggle magic-like, right? The official deck has nothing. It's just a regular deck of cards that's too big and poorly designed. So I decided to add some cards to do some magic tricks with this because it just made sense. Let me know what you think. Do you prefer the Wizard deck to my DIY deck? Let me know in the comments section below. Remember, I get a lot of ideas for these DIYs that I do from your comments. So if you have an idea for something that you want to see me do in the future, definitely leave a comment below and let me know. If you're interested in seeing more DIY videos having to do with Harry Potter and more, go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.